Right, everyone, Chinese Privet. Okay, here is a great example. Have a look behind me. Now, this is a beautiful piece of Kaikatea remnant forest, and it has been carefully fenced off. And this is what happens if you don't do any weed control. Don't think if you've got one or two Chinese privets that they're not going to be a problem, because they are. They will turn into this. There's a really good example here too of, you can see here, the blackberry is beautifully sprayed, you know, as you do. On the farm, the privet hasn't been perceived to be a problem and it has not been sprayed, and man, it is a problem. So this is a tutorial on a whole bunch of ways that you can actually use to get rid of privet. So we'll get going and I'll show you a bunch of things that you can do. So we are in the middle of a magnificent example of Chinese privet. We have Chinese privet here, which is 1 inch high, or like this. We have it up to knee high. We have these ones, which are all coming up to like 1 meter or 2 high. And then we've got the ones that are really quite mature with decent trunks on them. So the thing is that if you're working in a space like this, first of all, you need to identify your species. Do you actually know what privet looks like? So if you're just a little bit doubtful, I recommend that you download the Aotea species classifier. It's a really good app. It's fantastic on natives and it does most of the common weeds as well. You just take a photo of the plant and the classifier will tell you what it is. So just make sure you are killing weeds before you really get stuck in. In a space like this, see, honestly, that is all privet, all needs to go, except you want to look around because you see this one here? This one is actually a black Mairi, which is quite a rare native. So just have a look at your surroundings. If you're in a patch of bush like this, I recommend before you start, if there's anything valuable that you want to save, flag it, because otherwise you're going to get on a roll. You can have that cut off and pasted in no time flat because you're only going to be looking at the trunks. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so this is technique number 1, and I'm using this X-Tree Wet and Dry, and it's like a chemical ring barking agent. There's a bunch of ways I can kill this tree, but I'm choosing this way because it's got a gnarly old trunk with multiple stems, and I think this is going to be the quickest way for this type of tree. So we spray the spray right round the trunk. You've got to get, it's a ring barking agent, so you've got to get right round. Do not leave a strip undone. You need to do all the stems. I'm using an absolutely crappy as little sprayer because this stuff isn't good for sprayers. It must do something terrible to the seals, because after a little while you'll find that your lovely knapsack will leak, which is why I only use real cheap stuff. So I'm coming around the trunk. I'm being very careful to get into the cracks and where the trunks are joined. So the official label says to do 6 times the height from the girth of the tree, 6 times that in height, if that makes sense. Read the label. Right, so that tree will die. Now this is a really handy method, but it's quite slow. So it might take a good 6 months for that tree to die. So you can go through and do a whole lot and think, oh my gosh, it's not even going to work. But just give it time. The other thing, if you're using this method and you've got a big problem like this one and you're going to be coming back on multiple days, it's quite hard to tell what you've done 24 hours later. So I recommend that you put a mark of paint on the tree, and then you know that that one is done, and then you can, it doesn't matter if you come back in a week, you know what's what. Also, just make sure that you are wearing a bit of decent gear and that you do have your gloves on, because I have noticed it doesn't matter what X-tree goes in, eventually something's going to leak and you're going to get it on you, so definitely wear your gloves. Okay, so this is our next technique, which is drill and fill. So I've got a drench pack and it's full of neat Roundup, so it's not diluted at all. It's quite a good way to carry it. Hopefully not too much leakage out of that system. And a drill with a decent sized bit in it. So to drill and fill, you want to go fairly low in the tree. You need to drill a hole in a downward angle. And I'm going to fill it up with neat Roundup. Personally, I like to fill it up so I can see it running out. It just makes me feel good. So you need to drill holes about every 10 centimeters around a trunk. So if you've got quite a big trunk like this, that's a lot of holes. A small one like this, I reckon we could do it with about 3 holes. I really feel like I'm taking one for the team doing this. Right, now you can see it's not always that easy. See, there's a heap of crap behind this one, and I've got to get holes right round the trunk. So if you've got an access problem, you might find that the basil spray, which we covered just before, might actually be an easier method. So it just depends where you are and what obstacles you have as to what method you're going to choose. So this isn't a lot of fun, I gotta say. Yeah, that's just nasty. However, on the bright side, that is now one dead privet tree. So another technique is cut and paste. So you could use the Basil X on this, that would work, but there would be a lot of overspray. Actually wouldn't matter here, but it's quite hard to get it directly on a very small trunk. I could drill and fill it, but the smaller the trunk, the harder it is to drill without going right through the trunk, and then it doesn't work. So I'm going to choose to cut and paste. So okay, so you see this tree, it was just a bit too tall for knapsack spraying, so I've cut it off. Now remember, with cut and paste, very effective. I've got a nice fresh cut. There you are. I've put my cut and paste all over it. You must put the poison onto the fresh cut within a couple of minutes of cutting it. You cannot do a whole lot and then go back later and put on the cut and paste, it won't work. It will have sealed itself off. So this is quite good for anything this size. You could use loppers, anything, you know, that suits you to cut them off. As you see, I've also got, I'm in the middle of a patch of smaller ones as well. So it's perfectly acceptable just to hand pull them out. That's as effective as anything. The only trouble is that it's slow. And actually, after about 4 hours, personally, it hurts my back. So now you can see I am standing in a field of smaller privet. Now I could hand pull these, but it's going to take me a long time, so I've decided to knapsack them. It's going to be quicker and more effective. I'm going to get a bit more scale. I'm using Graze-On, and I'm using Graze-On because Graze-On is not translocated through the soil and it won't hurt the mature kikes. If we use any of the other brush killers, we are liable to actually kill the mature trees, and that's just through root uptake. You don't even have to get it on the trunks. So that's why we are recommending Graze-On. Yep, so I have the right rate in my knapsack is what's recommended on the label, and I've also added a penetrant, which makes it much more effective. So doing a job like this, the thing you've got to make sure that you do is cover all the leaves on the little bush. So if you take a little bush like this one, if I just spray this side of it, and you see that one I haven't done, and then I just move along and do another one, that bush will not die. You have to make sure that you've got a total cover. So after you've done a big job like this, you've got to go back every few months and actually just see how effective you were, because there will be a few misses. You can't help it. But you see, this is great. I can kill millions of things real fast, and I love that. Again, I've already checked. There are no valuable species here for me to spray over, but that is something that you do need to check out before you blanket spray like this. So have a good look around before you start. I've actually got 2 weeds in here. I've got Jerusalem cherry as well, which is this one. Hate that stuff. It needs to go too. So very satisfying. I think I'll just keep doing this. So we're done. I'm busy. See you later. Bye. So guys, we've showed you a range of different methods. We have done the drill and fill, we've done the basil chemical ring barking method, we've done the cut and paste, get that paste on while that cut is fresh. We have done the knapsacking, broadcast spray, and what else have we done? I think that's about it. But anyway, just choose the method that suits you best. That is the way to get through it. You've got to make yourself happy while you're doing a miserable job. So anyway, this privet, you know, it's real bad for asthmatics. It is, like I can feel it getting into my sinuses now. I can feel them starting to swell. It's not something we want round everywhere. It's an absolute disgusting weed. So hey guys, get out there and kill some.